Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. I have found the team for the Fossil Cup, and unfortunately it's a little late into the rotation, but I'm trying to get this video out as soon as possible so as many of you can play it as possible. Not only did I go exclusively positive when running this team over the course of a couple days, but I recommended this team to my friends, and they've also gone exclusively positive when running this team over several days. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the games. We are going to be leading Jellicent into Golisopod, if Golisopod is on Shadow Claw, which most are, as they need some form of play into Jellicent. This is not the best lead ever, however, Jellicent can put up quite a good fight here, and actually, in certain shielding scenarios, be the victor in this matchup. We are going to fire off the Surf. They call my Surf bait, but that just means that we can bring in the Fury Cutter Shadow Scizor, and if they attempt to make another move here, oh, they've got another thing coming. They're going to fire off the Aqua Jet here. They're going to switch out into Whiscash, and Whiscash may not be ready for what's about to hit it. Trailblaze from the Shadow Scizor. One shots. One more Fury Cutter will take out the Whiscash. They bring back in the Golisopod, but I am fully committing to this Scizor now, and we now have a 3-1 Pokemon advantage, and the opponent will concede the match. A little bit of a tricky lead in the next match, as it is going to be Jellicent leading into Shadow Scizor. This isn't terrible, however, because we can afford to play this out a little bit, and they do throw on alignment. 9 turns is when they get the Night Slash, but it's also when we're able to fire off another Hex for free. So they needed to overfarm by 2 there, they didn't, and now we're going to grab a shield with the Hex, bring in our own Scizor, and they're not throwing. I don't know why. They had the move, I was at an energy disadvantage there, and they just decided to not throw, let go of their Scizor. In comes a ferrothorn, and who lied to this trainer? Which one of you was it that told him that ferrothorn was a Scizor answer? It most certainly is not. Night Slash is going to do a sizable amount onto the ferrothorn, and now I can very comfortably commit a shield. I'm actually going to not commit a shield and just no shield the Thunder, yeeting my Scizor into oblivion. That feels bad. But we are just going to put it all on the back of our own Ferrothorn. They're going to bring in their own Jellicent. Who told this person they could run my team out of order? Now I'm mad. I'm going for the Power Whip. They're going to be able to connect with the Shadow Ball onto our Jellicent, or onto our Ferrothorn here, but it just doesn't matter. They go for the Surf. Oh my goodness. Fries, bag. This game is just about over. We're going to fire off the Power Whip. Power Whip removes the Jellicent. In comes their Ferrothorn. I can probably no-shield this too, and I'm going to. They fire off the Thunder. It's just not enough damage. We're going to be able to make our own Thunder. Get that 2-shield flex, and this is the power of Shadow Ferrothorn. It is a monster at closing games. Getting into the next one is going to be Cradily leading into our Jellicent. That's not too terrible. I'm going to fast move check. No, I'm not. Instant switch into Scizor. And now I'm going to fire off a move onto the Cradily, or at least attempt to, but they're able to outpace me by a turn before I make my Trailblaze. Rock Tomb is going to connect, and unfortunately, because I go for the no shield there, this is actually a bad play. You want to ideally commit a shield onto your Scizor there, because if this happens, they bring in their Poliwrath, they can just fast move you down, and they can pretty much fast move you down with any Pokemon that has any amount of fast move pressure onto Scizor. But now, this Poliwrath is literally just free eats for our Jellicent. Jellicent going to be able to absorb any damage they throw. That is absolutely pitiful Icy Wind damage. We get a 4 Hex running start, and that is everything Jellicent could ever ask for. I'm going to throw one further move, then switch into my Ferrothorn. They're going to bring in Cradily, look to debuff me, and then bring in whatever it is their third is, because this is a truly terrible matchup for Cradily. They are going to bring in their Golisopod. I am 1 stage debuff, but I'm still going to go for a Power Whip bait. A Thunder would still do a significant amount of damage onto the Golisopod from this range. I can probably go straight Power Whip because I don't think 1 Thunder plus Bullet Seeds is going to KO, but I'm hoping to punish a no shield here, so I click on the Thunder button, but unfortunately no shield is to be. I'm looking to build up energy on my Ferrothorn, then switch out into my Jellicent. Unfortunately, they're able to fire off their move, before I'm able to switch out. In comes my Jellicent. They don't anticipate the snipe, and that is going to cost them their entire Golisopod, or roundabout their entire Golisopod. Back in comes Cradily. I'm clicking on my Surf. Looks like they were one turn delayed there because they took the Shadow Ball and got one turn bring in with their Cradily. They're going to be able to fire off a move here, but I don't believe this is going to be enough to KO the Jellicent. They fire off the Grass Knot. It does KO the Jellicent, but this is just more farm for the Ferrothorn. And once again, here comes another endgame where Shadow Ferrothorn has a move, deletes a Pokemon, and wins us the game. Getting into the next game, it's going to be Lucario leading into our Jellicent. This is a very nice lead as Lucario does not pace quickly enough to get to a threatening Shadow Ball, so this is only ever going to be a throw on 4, which will be the Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch, however, not going to be very threatening onto the Jellicent. Gets us to about 50% HP, but they are going to be able to wait a turn and see if they decide to go for a catch. The game doesn't update, so I throw a Surf at an incoming Ferrothorn. You hate to see it, but that's just standard procedure here at Niantic Labs. Nevertheless, I'm going to go for the Night Slash. They're going to be able to make a move here, but that's perfectly fine. Scizor is always able to no-shield this Thunder, provided it's not a Shadow Ferrothorn. I'd probably die if it was, but we are able to no-shield the Ferrothorn move there and still continue to get the full farm down. The reason being is because Ferrothorn's fast move pressure is nigh non-existent to a Bug Steel type. We are going to be able to see the Lucario come back in, and they did not have a whole lot of reason to shield that move because everything that Scizor has is resisted up against the Lucario. So I'm very confused by that shield, but nevertheless, we are going to be able to make a Shadow Ball here. They bring in their Mantine. I'm not too sure about this Mantine pick here. I'm not really entirely sure what it does. Like, sure, if you see a Poliwrath or a Golisopod, cool. But those aren't even on every team. Anyway, we're going to bring in our Ferrothorn here, and this is just cruelty. I can build up as much energy as I want, and this game is going to be a win. We have a guaranteed one-shot with the Thunder. We are actually at 100 energy. The Thunder is going to destroy the Mantine, and we're going to be able to reach a Thunder up against the Lucario. This Thunder is easily going to pick up the knockout. GG's to this trainer. Getting into the next one, it's Jellicent leading into Poliwrath. I cannot get enough of the Poliwrath lead. Keep them coming. They're going to switch into their own Ferrothorn. I'm going to bank some energy, then switch out into my Scizor. I don't care what I take here because I know that I just need my Jellicent aligned onto that Poliwrath in the endgame. So I am just going to bring in the Scizor now. They're going to fire off a move here, but do I ever care? Absolutely not. It can be an Acid Spray. What are we doing? We're Acid Spraying the Scizor. What is this? We're going for a little bit of a Trailblaze BM here, looking to ramp up our attack as much as possible. And I don't care what move this is because it's likely to either be a Power Whip or another Acid Spray. We're going to be able to farm down that Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is in trouble. We're going to be able to make the back-to-back Blaze, and although that we were -4 in our defense and we're a Shadow Scizor, we're able to hang on, make another Trailblaze up against the Poliwrath, and Poliwrath is not going to be having fun. You commit both shields onto the Poliwrath with a Jellicent in play? I cannot even begin to fathom that play. Shadow Ball does about 55% to the Golisopod. Golisopod is going to fire off a move here, but I'm just being a bully. I'm no shielding. They're going to go for the Aerial Ace. I have 2 shields here. I don't need them. I'm going to fire off a Power Whip sometime in the near future. I'm looking to build up quite a bit of energy here so that we can prepare for the most screenshotable moment. I've got 100 energy. Power Whip is 50. So when you bring in that Golisopod, it is not safe. Power Whip onto the Golisopod, removes the Golisopod, in comes the Poliwrath. Poliwrath lives on 1 HP, but that was about 95% from that Power Whip. GG's to this trainer. It's going to be a less than favorable lead in the next one as we are going to lead into a Ferrothorn. We're going to build up some energy and look to switch and catch onto our Scizor. Unfortunately, no catch is made, but they do bring in a Gastrodon. You can play this out. If you feel as if they're just going to double shield your Trailblazers, what you do is you build up to the Night Slash, you lose CMP to a Gastrodon somehow. I'm still confused about that. Yes, I understand it's a glitch known as piggyback CMP, but that's pretty lame that I just lost CMP to a Gastrodon, don't you think? They are going to be able to make a move here, but now we can preserve switch advantage, put our Shadow Ferrothorn on their Ferrothorn, and have our Jellicent for whatever Pokemon they have in the back. We are going to be able to make the Trailblaze. That's big damage onto that Gastrodon. We got both shields and switch advantage because we were a degen that baited twice. They are going to bring in the Ferrothorn, but the boosted Fury Cutters have now put them into a range where we have a massive health lead over the Ferrothorn. And that is pretty much all we need. Power Whip connects. Why did they Power Whip my Ferrothorn that's double resisted? Are they also on Acid Spray? I don't know what's going on. They're going to click on a move this time. It's now going to be the Flash Cannon. I'm so legitimately confused right now. I'm at 100 energy, fired off my Thunder here. Thunder will do a substantial amount of damage onto their Ferrothorn, and they are going to be able to live it. I'm bringing in my Jellicent here because a Ferrothorn move is just in the zero shield scenario in this cup. They went for the Flash Cannon. Oh my goodness. This game is absolutely unequivocally over at this point because we've got the Shadow Ball. It does quite a lot of damage onto their Jellicent. They're going to need more than one move to win this game. The opponent very riskily overfarms too much. We're able to make the Surf back. In comes the Ferrothorn, but they're just getting farmed down. GG's. Getting into the next match, it is a familiar lead, leading Jellicent into Shadow Scizor. We know how we like to play this matchup out. If it's Fury Cutter, you can play it a little bit differently, or I'm sorry, if it's Bullet Punch, you can play it a little bit differently than if it's on Fury Cutter. The opponent does throw an alignment here. I apologize for some of the opponent misplays here, guys. Bear with me, I have yet to get my ELO reveal. I'm probably the latest content creator to do so. But yeah, it is what it is. They're going to fire off a move onto my Scizor. Of course, I'm going to shield it up. A Night Slash would put me in Fury Cutter farm down range, so I'm going to fire off my own Night Slash and look to see a reaction from their Scizor. They are going to shield up. They double shield their Scizor. That is very interesting. They are going to fire off another Night Slash here, and I'm going to commit to the hyper-aggressive farm down here, and I'm not able to get it. That is tragic. This is very tough for me. Night Slash is going to pick up the knockout on my Scizor. I'm bringing in my Ferrothorn, hoping that this Ferrothorn energy will be able to take me far, and they bring in Poliwrath. I don't know if you guys saw there, that was 3 Bullet Seeds and a Power Whip. Down goes the Poliwrath from full. In the back, it's a Gastrodon. They realize there is no way to win the game. That is a top leftable offense. GG's to this trainer. The Jellicent is just casually going to win another lead as it leads into another non-Shadow Poliwrath. Poliwrath going to safe switch out into Pelipper. Pelipper, Pokemon I haven't seen in the Go Battle League in many years. This Pokemon has been on Fraud Watch ever since Wing Attack got nerfed. That feels real bad for Pelipper. Nevertheless, they're going to fire off a move. It's a Weather Ball bait onto my Jellicent. What is happening? I'm going to fire off a Shadow Ball onto the Pelipper. Pelipper has a very important decision to make here. They shield up. I'm going to now switch into my Ferrothorn, and I have a very sneaking suspicion they are going to attempt to land a Hurricane onto my Ferrothorn. They go for it. In comes the Poliwrath, 4 Bullet Seeds. This Poliwrath is going to cease existence right now as the Power Whip removes the Poliwrath. The screenshot for the boys, and they bring in a Lantern for some reason. They still had some Pelipper left, but they knew the game was over. It's going to be Ferrothorn leading into my Jellicent in the next game. I'm safe switching into my Scizor. They counter switch with their Jellicent now that I have a massive energy lead. I'm going to fire off the Trailblaze here. Trailblaze will do a sizable amount of damage onto the Jellicent. I just want to make sure that I'm boosted because I am going to shield up. We know that if they're bringing in a Jellicent down a substantial amount of energy into a Scizor, that they must not have a very strong Scizor response on this team. I'm going to fire off another Trailblaze. They shield it up. They really need this Scizor off their screen immediately. but it's not going to happen. Double shielding the Scizor after double trailblazing, and we're going to be able to commit to the Fury Cutter down. What is it they decide to bring in? They bring back in the Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn not going to be having a good time. This is a double boosted Night Slash about to land onto them, and it is now going to be a quadruple boosted Scizor. I feel like Pato Man and NAIC. I'm going to live the Power Whip, and the Fury Cutter chip goes absolutely mental onto the Ferrothorn. You see me suspiciously swipe up on my screen there. I don't know what that was. I think I got sick or something. Anyway, I am going to catch the Power Whip onto my own Ferrothorn, and they don't want to bring in that last Pokemon, knowing that the Ferrothorn is going to end its career. They're going to fire off a move here. It can be a Flash Cannon. It can be a Thunder. My Ferrothorn's way healthier than theirs, so I'm going to be able to tank that absolutely no problem. And you know what else I'm going to tank? I'm going to tank that next move too. But the Thunder leaves them in Bullet Seed farm down range. That is something the regular baby boy Ferrothorn would never be able to accomplish. GG's to this trainer. Getting into the next game, it is the Washed Pokemon Chronicles. We lead our Jellicent into a Volt Switch Fortress, although I guess it's not super washed because they did land on one of the Pokemon they wanted to see. They are going to counter switch my Scizor safe switch after going for the Sand Tomb with their Gastrodon, and this is not good. I build up to the Trailblaze, fire off a Night Slash bait, and then the bait is successful and also grabs a shield and gives me the boost. That is a beautiful sight for us to behold, and we are able to land a boosted Night Slash, which means that the Gastrodon takes most of their health for their troubles. They're going to bring back in the Fortress, and I'm just going to click on Shadow Ball. Hopefully Shadow Ball will connect onto the Fortress. Unfortunately, it does not, but I don't believe they have very much of any means of actually damaging the Fortress, or I'm sorry, the Jellicent right now. They go for the Rock Tomb. I'm going to go for one Hex and a Shadow Ball. This is now a debuffed Shadow Ball, so it's not going to hit particularly hard, but will do some very necessary chip damage to whittle this Fortress down. I am going to bring in my Ferrothorn, and this is getting difficult. They're going to fire off a move. They go for the Rock Tomb bait. Oh my goodness, there's a chance. There's a chance in the back. It's Golisopod. Hold, Ferrothorn, reaching for the Thunder onto the Golisopod. This is debuffed. It does still do a massive amount of damage, and now they're not going to be able to make two moves. This is a Bullet Seed down because we have the Shadow Ferrothorn. X's are shielded up. Bullet Seed gets the farm down. We leave with the Thunder. They are going to be able to bring back in the Fortress. They have a move. They win CMP. Is it going to be enough? The Rock Tomb does not KO, and Ferrothorn is, for one last time, going to clutch out an endgame on 1 HP. GG's to this trainer. If you made it to this point in the video, thanks so much for watching. My apologies for getting this Fossil Cup video out to you so late, especially because it features such an insanely strong team. However, I did want to still show it off because one silver lining is that even if you're not able to play this team today, the Fossil Cup will return at the end of July 29th to be exact. We will have a Fossil Cup rerun alongside the Open Great League. So if you guys are interested in running this team, please feel free to let me know your experiences with it in the comments section down below. I had 2 friends of mine try the team, and they said that they also saw massive amounts of success with this team, so I'm excited to see what everybody else does. With all that being said, thanks once again so much for watching. I've been Shmeaty. I hope to see you all again next time, and have a good rest of your day. See ya.